A number of NCIS episodes are necessary to fully comprehend Mike Franks, one of the show's most recognizable supporting characters. Mark Harmon's Gibbs as an NCIS agent was greatly influenced by Franks, who was portrayed by Muse Watson in the original series. Despite making few appearances throughout NCIS, Franks frequently accompanied the show's protagonists as they looked into challenging cases, lending them his wisdom as a former agent and mentor. Since his NCIS appearance, Franks has emerged as a key figure in the NCIS Origins narrative, which examines Gibbs' life after joining NIS in the early 1990s. Franks' character and his strong mentorship-turned-friendship with Gibbs have been examined in greater detail in the prequel. The core of Franks' character was established in NCIS, with certain episodes emphasizing his vivacious nature more than others, even if the NCIS spin-off has been essential in developing his plot. Hiatus Part 1 is perhaps one of the most significant NCIS Gibbs episodes, and it is also a crucial episode for Mike Franks' character. The penultimate episode of Hiatus Part 1 of Season 3 of NCIS uses flashbacks to show how Gibbs learned of his wife and daughter's deaths while serving in the Marine Corps. The exposé also demonstrates that Franks was the agent responsible for their murder investigations, and in a flashback to 1991, it depicts him telling a distressed Gibbs who the killer was, Peter Hernandez, as well as his location and picture. The episode introduced Gibbs' connection with Franks and his moral philosophy, despite the fact that Franks only made an appearance in a flashback. Franks' decision to conveniently leave Hernandez's file beside Gibbs as he left the room was motivated by his conviction that it was the correct thing to do, regardless of whether it was objectively right or wrong. The episode's events prepared the ground for Franks' further encounters with Gibbs in the present. Hiatus Part 2 was the first episode of the NCIS to show Muse Watson's Franks in the present day, whereas Hiatus Part 1 was the first to introduce Franks in a flashback. Gibbs deals with the fallout from waking up from a coma and continuing to believe it is 1991 in this episode. Franks is contacted by Jenny, the then director of NCIS, who exhorts him to go back to Washington, D.C. Because of his admiration for Gibbs, Franks visits Washington virtually right away and assists Gibbs in organizing his past till his recollections bring him to the present in 2006. The importance of Hiatus Part 2 extended beyond Franks' outward look. The episode also demonstrated how strong Gibbs and Franks' connection is now, even though they have been apart for years due to Mike Franks' retirement. He wanted to ignore Jenny's call, but he put everything on hold to support his friend in his hour of need. Because it demonstrates Franks' love and dedication to one of the most significant individuals in his life, it is an excellent episode to see. Because it shows so much about Franks, Anonymous is a Woman on NCIS is one of the finest episodes about him. The NCIS team looks into the death of a fictitious Marine sergeant in the episode. The murderer is really an Afghan immigrant who was passing for a sergeant. As the team gets to know the lady more, they find out that the victim was a member of a bigger Afghan-based women's group that Franks actively sponsored as a way to protect women. The story serves as yet another illustration of Franks' high values and his ability to keep morality and the law apart. Ironically, even though he works as a federal agent and is supposed to enforce the law, he does not always believe that it is fair. His behavior of defending the episode's weaker female characters reveals Franks' character and his own moral principles, which are quite apart from those of his work as an agent. Another crucial Franks episode is Outlaws and In-Laws from NCIS Season 7, which emphasizes Franks' bond with Gibbs. Franks almost instantly becomes a top suspect as Gibbs's gift boat washes up with 2 dead bodies. As the NCIS team diligently searches for the murderer, Gibbs wonders if Franks is truly responsible. Franks, meantime, asks Gibbs for assistance because he worries about the safety of his family. The incident once more demonstrated Gibbs and Franks' mutual trust in the face of dubious evidence. Gibbs disagrees with the team's belief that Franks is guilty, despite the compelling facts around him. He respects Franks so much that he finds it hard to comprehend how his mentor could act in such a manner. Ultimately, Gibbs is correct, and he manages to both protect Franks' family and identify the real murderer. The devotion of Franks and Gibbs is steadfast, and this episode effectively illustrates the lengths to which the two men will go in order to keep each other safe. Because it demonstrates Franks' devotion to Gibbs, Judgment Day Part 1 is yet another outstanding Franks episode. Jenny Shepard of NCIS asks Franks for assistance in the episode when a case they worked on together in the past comes back to haunt her and endangers the lives of Jenny, Franks, and Gibbs. Franks comes to NCIS to assist Jenny because he thinks it is the only way to keep Gibbs safe, even though the two are not at all close. Franks will stop at nothing to support his old friend, as his character has demonstrated. Jenny is tragically murdered in a firefight at the end of the episode, which unfortunately takes a turn for the worse. Even though Franks kills their opponents in the end, he is unable to do it before Jenny suffers a deadly wound. Although it was Jenny's final appearance on NCIS, the incident demonstrated her and Frank's dedication to Gibbs' safety. In order to keep Gibbs out and shield him from any possible harm, neither of them disclosed the fight or the matter in question to him. Although they both wanted to protect Gibbs, they also knew he could manage himself.